Hi everybody, so in this video we are going to look at search filters. So as you know, and I've mentioned in previous videos, search is the core fundamental focus of myReach. So essentially myReach helps you centralize all the information, which is great. It brings everything together, but more importantly is how you can then find the answers that are hidden in your files, in your company's Google Drive, hidden in all your articles and your research. Essentially how you can find information through all of your data. So there are several ways to search, which we've already looked at in previous videos. You've got the AI assistant, you've got the search bar, the chat button here. You can click on an individual file and search through that file specifically. We've also got the browser extension. But one core thing that you can work with to narrow down your search, or if you're looking for specific sources, is the search filters. So for example, if you're looking for a contract that a colleague was working on and it is in your Google Drive, but you don't know the name of the contract or where in Google Drive it was saved, it becomes very time consuming to look for it. Similarly, if you're looking for an article that was recommended to you by a colleague during the break of your weekly meeting, for example, there is no tool out there that can help you search that if you don't remember the name of the article or where you saved it. However, with myReach, with the advanced filters here, you're able to identify what are all the relevant nodes to that specific search. So here, for example, you see we've got 105 results, which means that in the Acme Corp workspace, there are 105 different nodes. Now, these can be files, topics, websites, contacts, essentially any digital data. So with that in mind, one of the search filters that you can have is node type, which means that you can search for a specific type of node. So for instance, if you search for websites, it narrows down your results to only the websites that you've got saved in this workspace. Now, it doesn't have to be restricted to one. You can also search for multiple types of nodes at the same time. So you've got all the results here that are websites and files. And now what you can do, if you ask any questions in the search, it will search based on these results. So it will search based on the 71 results that you've got in your filters here, not on the entire workspace. Now, if you want to clear your search, you've got the reset button that takes you back to your entire workspace. Another thing that you can filter for is node filters. So for example, if you're looking for contracts, we already have a tag called contracts, and with a search, it will show you all the results that have a connection, that have a relationship to the tag contract. Now there's another video that explains everything about relationships, how to create them. Some are manually created and others are automatic. But in this way, you can see all the results that have a relationship to a specific node, whether it's a tag or a file or anything. Now, in this case, you can see that there are 19 results, so there are 19 contracts connected to this topic. So you've got all your contracts here. You can click on one to ask specific questions about it. Or if you want to narrow it down further, what you can do is, for example, if I click on David Miller here, it will search for all the nodes that I have that are in common with both contract and David Miller. So in this case, you can see that there is one contract that has a relationship to both David Miller and contracts. Now, what you can do if not, instead of all the nodes that are related to both, you can select all nodes, which means that it will give you the results of anything that you've got saved in your workspace that is either connected to David Miller or to contracts. So in this case, you see it opens up the search a little bit more with all the results. Now, the last thing that we've got is the More button. So this shows you all the properties that you have in your nodes. Now, there's also another video that explains properties, what they are, how to add them and all. Some are already there and others you can create yourself depending on what your use case is. But essentially, if you've got a property, so for example, now that we had contracts, you can click on any of the properties and here we could search for contracts, for example, for anything with a value of 50,000. So equal to 50,000, greater than, less than. So for example, here it would be a search for any nodes that I have that have a currency of less than or equal to 50,000. So in this case, I see that I've got 3 contracts with a value of less than or equal to 50,000. Now, the way that I see this is if I go click on any of the contracts, you've got here the properties, and these are all the properties that you have. There it is, price 50,000. Now, what you can do is either click on it to edit the value if that has changed, or you can also add more properties. Essentially, it is all customizable, up to you based on what you need or what you want. In this case as well, you see the price here is 35,000, which means it still falls under the filter that we have added of 50,000 or less, which is why you've got 3 results. Now, what you can do again is click on any of the contracts, open the chat button here and ask questions about this specific contract only. So if you ask questions here, whether it's about the break clause, about timings and dates, about the parties involved, anything, it will answer only based on this contract and its relationships, not on your entire workspace. So you're able to be much more specific with what you need. Now, the last thing that we can look at with filters is the reason why I've got AI status here. So you might see that I have it here and you don't have it in your workspace, which is because I have decided to pin it here. So AI status is another property. You can find it under the More button, and essentially any property that you want, you can pin it by just clicking here on the pin button, and it appears here automatically, and it will always be there until you unpin it. Now, the reason why I have added AI status, as you know, the AI assistant is only able to answer questions based on the nodes that it has learned. So if you upload, if you import or integrate anything and a certain file or website or anything has failed to learn, if you ask questions to the assistant, it will not be able to answer based on that node. It will look through everything else, but anything that has failed to learn will not be used in the answers. So one thing that you can always do to check that all your files, websites, and your data has been learned is to filter by all the nodes that have failed to learn. So in this case, I see that I've got 2 nodes that have not been learned. So what I can do is click on the AI status, retry, and it will learn the node again. So it's just a way of making sure that everything that you've got is able to be used by the AI assistant. Now, I hope this was helpful. If you've got any questions, you can write them in the comments below or in our forum, and we will make sure to get back to you and help you with any issues that you have. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.